And we're live. It's Tom Cassidy. This is the Reasonable Wealth Project. We are just about to embark on week seven of the Reasonable Wealth 13 by 4 is all about the idea that reasonable wealth increases the net worth of humanity. So it actually is all about bringing more life to all. It's about increasing the worth, the average net worth, the money, the usable resources, the everything in the world. It's not about taking anything away from anybody. It's not about diminishing the supply in any way. And it's a really, really difficult concept for a lot of people to get their minds around, especially people who are in business. And the fundamental problem that they have in general is that they don't believe there's enough to go around. They believe that there is a fixed supply, and they have these crazy ideas that they look at stuff like the Earth, and the logic dictates, well, hang on, it is a finite planet. The planet isn't growing, so therefore we must be running out. Therefore, I better fight for my corner and the bit that's coming to me. Now, we don't see it like that. I see that, of course, it is a fixed planet, but any humans that existed on the planet had to come from molecules that were elsewhere on the planet already. Anytime you burn a fossil fuel, the molecules themselves don't leave the planet. They're organized into different configurations. It just turns out that the energy stored in those new configurations is significantly less than the energy stored in the old configurations, so hence it's not a sensible thing to be doing. But when you think about the resources of the planet, nothing is actually used up. The planet isn't losing any molecules. The only way the planet could be losing molecules is if you use nuclear power, and actually you are releasing the energy, and those sort of molecules or the atoms themselves, the energy that's locked up in those is actually being given out and potentially is leaving the Earth and going off into the atmosphere. But that's minuscule, absolutely tiny, and of course we don't have to use nuclear power anyway, do we? So this whole idea is that there isn't a fixed amount. If there is a fixed amount of stuff, right? If there is a fixed amount of stuff, then you say, okay, well, there's a fixed amount of stuff, but it can be organized in different ways. Of course it can. And human ingenuity and humans applying their metaphysical powers enables us to infinitely organize these fixed resources and use them over and over and over again. And this is something that people don't understand. This is why there's no fixed amount of money in the world, because money is just an idea, right? Let's say I've got £1 in my pocket. Let's say I use that pound to pay for a plumber to fix my toilet. I give that pound as part of a service. You know, it cost me 150 quid or something for like 3 minutes work, because that's plumbers for you. But anyway, we love them because we don't want a house to be stinking. So I give them £1, and then what happens is they go and buy the newspaper from the local shop with that pound. And then that newspaper guy then gives that pound to the boy who is doing a paper route and actually paper round, you know. And that boy then saves that up for a few days, let's say, and buy some sweets at the end of the week. That same pound that I spent and gave to that plumber has been used 6 or 7 times in just a few days or a week. Money, its value. So I can make fixed resources, but how I use them and how often I use them determines their real value. So that's why money is quite incredible, really. The fact that, you know, you can I mean, I was talking about this in the long course of Science of Getting Rich that I do on Udemy. I talk about just the money, not the crazy sort of equity type stuff and stocks and shares and all that sort of stuff, which is really quite nonsensical. But just the amount of money supply from 1960 to 2010, went up from something like 8 trillion to 120 trillion or something, 160 trillion, the amount of money that was around the world. And so it went up 20 times in a 50-year period, and the population only doubled. The human population doubled, but the physical resources on the planet didn't really physically double, but there's way more money, there's way more wealth, because wealth is how you use those physical resources. So this whole idea that when you bring reasonable wealth to people, to yourself, to everyone in your family, to your community, to your nation, to your tribe, to the world, you are actually increasing the value of everything for everybody. If I pay the plumber to do something, I give him the opportunity to buy something, and so on, and I set off a chain in motion which increases the value to everybody. If I decide to do that job myself, I've saved money, but I've also saved the world from having all these people benefit from that money as well. So that's why money is such a powerful idea, and that's why wealth is so important, because it enables everyone to have an amazing life. You know, why not? More money for everybody is great. Ultimately, I believe in a world, and it might be 20, 30, 40, 50 years, who knows when, where everyone will be able to have absolutely abundant everything. This is not BS. The technology is there to do it right now. Right now. Anyone who wants to have a long and detailed discussion about that, maybe we should do a hangout on the science behind this. Read Peter Diamandis' book Abundance. Read Buckminster Fuller's book Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth. Read his book The Critical Path. There is absolutely, without any realistic doubt, without any reasonable doubt, certainly enough of everything for everybody, not to just live okay, not to just not starve, but to have more than enough of everything they want without bringing less to anybody. In the same way as, like, if I spend that pound rather than saving the money and preventing the plumber from having a job and so on and so forth, everyone in that chain benefits. In the same way, everyone can benefit if we apply our technology in a way that makes the world work for everybody. So what I mean by reasonable wealth is wealth that is reasonable for the planet, reasonable for humans, reasonable for everybody. It's reasonable for the future existence of everybody as well. And how we do that is we've got to increase the net worth of everything, of humanity and the human situation, which is the humans plus all their resources, plus how they might use them, these resources. So it's human ingenuity, or the metaphysics, times the physical resources. Metaphysical times physical must always be increasing. And that way, if you're always increasing, then we don't mind how many people we bring into the world. We don't mind what's going on in 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years. You know, and on this, I've said this a few times, right? On this, the exact opposite of what most people think, which is to limit the population, the exact opposite is what we want. Look, if money is growing out of nothing, the fact that this weekend, it was a Sunday Times Rich List, right? The Queen was top of the rich list in 1989 when it started. Her net worth has increased in that period of time. Now, I don't know exactly. I'm going to find out, where is the Queen? Where is the Queen in the rich list? Because I read it today in 2014 rich list, and she has rich list. What position is the Queen? News for Queen. Okay, here we go. The Queen is worth 330 million, which is more than she was worth in 1989. But what position does she come in? Hey, let's have a look at this. The Queen, who's been on every Sunday Times rich list since she topped the first one in 1989, is now worth 330 million. But that is only enough to see her ranked 285th in what? 1990, just in 25 years. Isn't that incredible? So, rich list in 1989. It's possible. I don't know, to be honest. I haven't done this research. So let's see what it actually says. Sunday rich. I can't find it. I'll find this out for you, and we'll work it out. But anyway, so there's over 100 billionaires in the UK. This is just the UK, by the way. Astonishing stuff. So anyway, what are we going to focus on this week? I'm not going to get too carried away. We're going to focus on this idea that we're increasing the net worth of humanity, the everythingness of our situation, by bringing wealth to ourselves and wealth to our loved ones and wealth to everybody. The two chapters that we're going to focus on, one is one that we've done already, which is chapter 5, Increasing Life. And one is a new chapter that we haven't focused on yet, which is chapter 13, Getting into the Right Business. And they both focus on the difference between the creative plane and the competitive plane. And they're absolutely massive. In chapter 5, in Increasing Life, we say the universe desires you to have everything you want to have. It's the desire of God that you should get rich, and nature is friendly to your plans. But It's essential, however, that your purpose should harmonize with the purpose that is in all, right? You want to get rich in order that you may eat, drink, and be merry when it's time to do these things, in order that you may surround yourself with beautiful things, see distant lands, feed your mind, and develop your intellect, in order that you may love men and do kind things, and be able to play a good part in helping the world to find truth. Right? Now, you can help others more by making the most of yourself than in any other way. Right, and this is the key thing in chapter 5. Remember, however, that the desire of substance is for all, and its movements must be for more life to all. It cannot be made to work for less life to any, because it is equally in all seeking riches and life. So intelligent substance will make things for you, but it won't take away things from anyone else to give them to you. You must get rid of the thought of competition. You are to create, not to compete for what is already created. You don't have to take away anything from anyone or drive sharp bargains. Right, so you are to become a creator, not a competitor. You're going to get what you want, but in such a way that when you get it, every other man will have more than he has now. So it's a few things from chapter 5, massive chapter. Now there's a bunch of things from chapter 13 as well, getting into the right business. And I'm not going to go through all the details here, but basically it talks about the fact that, you know, you're going to have to get good at something. You have to get good at giving value if you are going to make money out of it and increase the net value of humanity, the net worth of humanity. You're going to have to do that. But here we go. Generally speaking, you will do best in the business which will use your strongest faculties, the ones for which you are naturally best fitted. But there are limitations to this statement. No man should regard his vocation as being irrevocably fixed by the tendencies with which he was born. Interesting. It will be easier for you to succeed in a vocation for which you already have the talent in a well-developed state. But you can succeed in any vocation, for you can develop any rudimentary talent, and there is no talent of which you do not have at least the rudiment. And this is what I love. You'll get rich most easily in point of effort if you do that for which you are best fitted, but you'll get rich most satisfactorily if you do that which you want to do. Doing what you want to do is life, and there is no real satisfaction in living if we are compelled to be forever doing something which we do not like to do, and can never do what we want to do. And it's certain that you can do what you want to do. What? Oh, hang on a second. Isn't that a bit massive there? And it is certain that you can do what you want to do. The desire to do it is proof that you have within you the power which can do it. Now, when I first encountered that idea that desire was a manifestation of power and that it was the actual proof that you had the power to do it, I thought that was astonishing. I'd never heard anybody say that before. And I'd always thought, well, hang on a second, is that true? If I really, really wanted to be a footballer and play football for England, would that mean that I could do it? Well, the subtle way to answer that question is, well, do you really, really, really want to play football for England? Well, no, I don't. Right, so then you won't have the desire to do it, so you won't have the power to do it. Anything that you genuinely have the strong desire to do, and not just a vague dream or a kind of, oh, it would be nice. Sure, everyone wants more money, everyone wants to travel, everyone wants to go around the world and do cool stuff and sail on a yacht and write a book and, you know, have a big happy family and all those things. Everyone wants that stuff vaguely, but there's a huge difference between that and having a strong desire to do it. And I think that's the thing. In your heart, deep down in your heart, you know the difference between that which you really, really want to do and that which you kind of, that'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be cool. And a lot of the time, the things that would be nice are the houses and the cars and stuff like that. Things to have. But when we deep down in our hearts look at the actual, we reach deep down into our hearts and look at the things that we really desire, I think the things that we really, really desire usually tend to be things that we do rather than things that we have. You know, times that we spend with people, holidays that we go on with people, travel where we go with a family, experiences that we have rather than things that we have. And if we do have things, it's things that we use rather than things that we just have. I was talking about this today to our au pair. She came over for a week to help with the baby. The baby's awesome, by the way. It's brilliant. He's in the other room feeding. Milk's just started coming in, so he's just like totally drunk on milk. Baby, by the way, for those of you who don't know, baby Theo was born on Friday at 7:33 a.m. on UK time. He's just over 9 pounds, which is 4.1 kilograms, and he's amazing. Such colour, such strength, such solidity. He's just like fantastic. He's already an amazing kid, and we're so excited. And Cindy's labour was just splendid. It just like popped it out. It's just like champagne. Incredible, that woman, amazing. And that is number 8 for me, number 4 for me and Cindy, 4 for my first marriage, and it's astonishing. You might think you get not tired of it, but you get a bit blasé about it. But I think I enjoyed this birth and this whole labour experience and way more than the others, and not because it's any more magical, but it's because I've changed and the appreciation of life has changed massively, and I just got so much out of it. Anyway, I was talking to my au pair on the way, dropping her off at the airport on our way back to Austria. This is a girl who was with us 3 years ago, and that's a good sign. You know you're doing something right if the people that you employed, you know, are still in touch with you and they want to come back and they say, oh, you're having a baby, great, I'll come over for a week and help and cook and bake and do all that sort of stuff. So big shout out to Lisa, that was amazing, thanks very much for that. But we were talking about this idea between having and using. You know, if you really want something, to have it, it's a bit like you have a Porsche because you want to have a Porsche, and you drive a Porsche, and there's nothing wrong with that. But why do you want to have it? You want to have it so that when you're driving out and about, you know, you've got it, and people look at it, and it looks good, and you like it, and you look at it, and you think that's fantastic. Look, if you want to drive on the Autobahn at like 200 kilometers an hour, it's way better to get a Porsche than to get like a Nissan that I've got. Way better. It's so much better as a machine of engineering quality to drive really fast in a car that's suited for it. So if you want to have a Porsche, to use it to travel at tremendous high speeds or to drive really powerfully and aggressively, then fantastic. That's why you should have it. If you want to have a Porsche because you like sitting in it, because it's so comfortable when you use it, when you drive around, it's just a wonderful driving experience, get one. Get it because you want to use it. And a big question, I've used this before, I'm sure a lot of you will have heard this, if you were the only person in the world, would you still want it? When there's no one else around to see you, there's nobody else to applaud you or to say, well, that's awesome, well done, that's great, would you still want to get it? If you still wanted to get it, then by all means get it. Absolutely, of course. There's nothing wrong with getting it anyway. But if you still really wanted it, even when no one would care or no one would even know about it because there's no one else around, then get it. Now, so if your desire is so strong that you actually want to have the physical manifestation of that desire as a well-engineered piece of metal and technology, like a car, fantastic. But most of us, when we actually reach deep into our hearts, what we desire is an experience. What we desire is the feeling. We want to feel good. We want to feel awesome. We want to have amazing experiences with people. And it's not really about the stuff. Now, you still need money to have amazing experiences, because most of us, the reason we're working in jobs at the moment is because we don't have enough money to not work. Simple as that. We haven't worked out a way to give enough value to enough people doing stuff that we love. So if that is part of your desire, then that's fantastic, because desire means you've got the capacity within you, the power within you to do it. That's what desire is. It's proof. So I think this is awesome. Right, let's move on this power. Okay, here we go. You can do what you want to do. It's your right and privilege to follow the business or vocation which will be most congenial and pleasant. You are not obliged to do what you do not like to do, and should not do it except as a means to bring you to the doing of the thing you want to do. So go back to last week. More than fill your present place. You know, I've got to do this. No, change it to get to. Well, this whole idea is, if we're working on the creative plane, we might find ourselves, ideally wanting to be in the creative plane, we might find ourselves in the short term on the competitive plane. But you don't got to do it, you get to do it. I get to have this job, which is part of the journey which takes me from where I am now to where I'm going to be in the future. So here we go. Let's move on. Right. There is never any hurry on the creative plane, and there is no lack of opportunity. So this is what the creative plane is. When you get out of the competitive mind, you will understand that you never need to act hastily. No one else is going to beat you to the thing that you want to do. There is enough for all. If one space is taken, another and a better one will be open for you a little further on. There is plenty of time. When you're in doubt, wait. Fall back on the contemplation of your vision and increase your faith and purpose. And by all means, in times of doubt and indecision, cultivate gratitude. A day or two spent contemplating the vision of what you want and in earnest thanksgiving that you're getting it will bring your mind into such close relationship with the Supreme that you'll make no mistake when you do act. Wow, that's quite interesting, isn't it? So that's the difference between the creative plane and the competitive plane. Nobody can beat you to it. If you are involved in a business or think that you want to get involved in a business and there is any fear or tiny anxiety that maybe you need to get doing it sooner rather than later, lest somebody steal your idea, lest somebody take your idea and make more of it than you're going to, that's a competitive plane. That's a great example of that. If you have an idea that is so good that you would be absolutely delighted if someone else did it and then went on and increased the net worth of humanity through what they'd done, and you would be delighted that they made lots of money out of it because it would be something valuable, and it wouldn't prevent you from doing it as well, then that's the creative plane. So that's a really good test. Is my approach to wealth, is my approach to business, is my idea for getting into the right business tinged with any kind of tiniest thought or stain of fear, anxiety, worry that maybe you need to get a move on because someone else will beat you to it, or you won't be quite as cool if you come up with this idea second. You won't be so much, you know, you want to be a shaker and a mover, you want to change the world, you want to be on the stages on the world and all this sort of stuff, but you're kind of a little bit worried that you've got some great ideas, and if other people get onto the stages first and start talking about them, then you won't quite be as cool. You'll be like at university, you'll be like the second guy who has the poster of the cool band. You know, the first guy who's got it is like, and then you go, oh, I'm kind of second. He's like, no, it's not cool. If you're thinking about judgment from men as part of your reward, you know, how cool you are, then that's the competitive plane. It's not the creative plane. So these are all signals for whether what you want and the whole future, bringing wealth, is even the slightest bit on the competitive plane. When I think of the things that I want to do, when I think about some of these ideas, you know, getting the 13x4 out to the world, my metaphysical tools, some of the algorithms, I'd be delighted to just stumble across other people who just use my stuff and hadn't even told me about it. I'd be delighted because I know that it's valuable. They say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. You know, I don't care about the flattery, but I do care that if people aren't taking my ideas forward, then there's potential for some people in the world not hearing them. I've got limited bandwidth. There's never going to be enough hours in my life for me to do all the things, probably even 10% of the things that I really want to do. So that's why I made all my things open source. That's why you can't steal from me. You can't steal my ideas, but I'm giving them to you. Anything you want, I'm giving to you. If you want to be a top speaker and speak on all these things, take them. If you're prepared to do that and you're ready right now, I don't care that you're going to do it before I do it. I mean, at the moment, I'm on the path that I'm on, and it's perfect for me, and it fits in beautifully with my family, and it fits in amazingly with all the things that I want to do. And there's no hurry. There's no hurry on the creative plane. There's no hurry at all. I know that everything will happen perfectly, and I would like things to happen faster just so that we can bring a greater experience sooner rather than later. I don't want things to happen faster so that I can make more money and, you know, so I can get the kudos or any of that stuff. If someone is going to take some of my ideas, do I prefer them to actually say, you know, where they got them from? Maybe I do. Maybe I don't really know. I haven't really thought about that. I was saying this recently that I went on to Udemy once and I saw a guy who'd actually downloaded from my course a bunch of maths videos. I'm teaching people how to do maths at sort of age 15 to 16 in the UK, which is called GCSE. I've done like 30 or 40 videos on that. I think they're really good, and that took a bit of time and really good stuff. He, without attribution, has downloaded my videos, uploaded them to his course without thanking me or anything, and put them as part of a much bigger course with like 160 videos, everything from the relatively straightforward stuff I was doing right up to the really complicated things. And every few lectures there's like a link to his company. It's called On the Ball Tutors. It's a tutoring company that will make money out of teaching people maths. And you know what? I thought that I was going to mind about that when I first discovered it. I thought, oh, that's a bit cheeky. Should have probably attributed these. But you know what's quite interesting? I genuinely thought, I'm really excited that my stuff, even without people knowing it's me, is getting out to a wider audience. So that's when you know you're on the creative plane. So I think competitive plane is anything to do with lawyers. Do lawyers bring greater net worth to all of humanity? I don't care if your best friend is a lawyer. I don't care if you're married to a lawyer. Answer that question. Do lawyers bring a greater net worth to humanity on average? No, they don't. You say, oh, but they're protecting people and they're making sure that no, rubbish. People say, well, yeah, but if we didn't protect them with patents and all that sort of stuff, then people wouldn't invest. Yeah, they would. People wouldn't do research. Yeah, they would. Sure, they would. Humans are ingenious. Don't tell me because people can't make money out of stuff, they're not going to think about ways to improve everyone's life. Of course they are. It'll be just organized differently. So patents and patent trolls, they are less life to more or less everybody. Maybe a bit more life to 1 or 2 people in the world. That's not making sense. That's making money. And there's a huge difference. Buckminster Fuller summarized the difference between the creative plane and the competitive plane by this. He said, you either set out to make sense or you set out to make money, but not both. And so you're either setting out to make sense, which is working on the creative plane, or you're setting out to make money. So is your fundamental driving goal to actually make money, or is it to make sense? That's another indication of whether you're on the creative or the competitive plane. Anyway, there is a mind which knows all there is to know, and you can come into close unity with this mind by faith and the purpose to advance in life if you have deep gratitude. Mistakes come from acting hastily or from acting in fear or doubt or in forgetfulness of the right motive, which is more life to all and less to none. As you go on in a certain way, opportunities will come to you in increasing number, and you will need to be very steady in your faith and purpose, and to keep in close touch with the All-Mind by reverent gratitude. You'll be doing all that you can do in a perfect manner every day, but you're going to do it without haste, without worry or fear. You're going to go as fast as you can, but never hurry. Remember that in the moment you begin to hurry, you cease to be a creator and you become a competitor. You drop back upon the old plane again. Whenever you find yourself hurrying, call a halt. Fix your attention on the mental image of the thing that you want and begin to give thanks that you're getting it. The exercise of gratitude will never fail to strengthen your faith and renew your purpose. This is such an incredible chapter. So your homework for the week is chapter 5, Increasing Life, and chapter 13, Getting into the Right Business. And you do this, and this is what we're doing, guys. It's marginal. We're just doing this. You should read the book as much as you can. You know what? I would encourage you not to read anything else. Wattles does this as well. And I see kind of in the chats, people are saying, oh, this is a good book to read. This is a good book to read. Look, I'm sure they are all great books to read. But let's nail this. Let's do absolutely everything in this program, week by week. Get some wealth under your belt. Then start reading some other books. Because if you get some wealth under your belt, then you probably get control over your time. You can spend more time with your kid, your grandchildren, your partner. You can spend more time doing awesome things. Look, I'm not saying you have to quit your job. You can go to part-time. I'm not saying that any of these things. But I do think it's important that we don't get distracted by more information. Look, there is, in these chapters on a weekly basis, just in this one chapter, chapter 13, there's enough information. If you internalize that and applied it into every fiber of your being, there's enough information for you to get wealthier than your wildest dreams. but you're going to get distracted by, or be careful, the script doesn't let you get distracted by the next thing, the new piece of information, or you're not going fast enough, or you're not developing quickly enough, or there's another way to look at it, or you need to meditate, or you need to not meditate, or you need to think. Oh no, you don't need to think, you need to feel. Oh, I need to love. No, you don't need to love, you need to be grateful. Watch out for that. It's just the script making it a little bit more complicated, making you right now not quite good enough, making something as simple as this not appear to work because it seems to be too simple. That's why the 13 by 4 is just like, I believe it was God's gift through Ben Franklin to all of us, and it's just absolute genius. I saw it in the chat. I didn't realize I'd even said this, but I saw it in the chat the other day on WhatsApp. And it's like something I'd said, apparently, which is information may be king, but implementation is God. And this is the thing, isn't it? If we want to actually make a difference and do something awesome, it's all about implementation. So let's implement. Just this week, it's creative playing is better than competitive playing. It's being making sense is better than making money. It's doing something which increases the wealth of, or increases the net worth of all humanity from now on and for the future, ever increasing. So that's this week. Have a wonderful week, and keep doing what you're doing. It's fantastic.